here as a scent. I know it, and it knows me.
What happened here happened before!
And we are live. Hey, Mr. Wilson. How's you doing? You got on mute. Oh,
Hi.
come on. With the...
What'd you do now?
No, it's the slideshow. It's running like pudding.
Pudding?
Pudding, yeah.
Does it look bad?
No. All right, it looks like it's okay
Okay.
now.
All right.
It gets all... I don't know. Sometimes it just gets all fucking choppy.
Whatever.
Whatever,
Anyway,
man.
welcome to Moviesucktastic. Already having technical difficulties. Thank you.
Always.
I am Scott, and the beleaguered man on the other end of the microphone is Joey.
Hi.
And today we are reviewing Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Yeah, we are.
A kind of a holdover from Halloween. It's kind of just a review of Jeepers Creepers Reborn. However, it's so much more because in order to watch this, Joey actually had to watch the third film, which he had not seen before, and I went back and rewatched all three before watching this for the first time. So we're really prepared to talk about the first three films and just give like a general once over before getting into this. And I think my shirt is having weird effects with the background, so I don't know if I'm going to keep this. You tell me if it's distracting or not.
It's not distracting to me. I don't care.
I'm actually kind of digging it now, so I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, and then we're gonna ease into Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which I don't want to give anything away until we get there. I want to be surprised.
Spoiler alert, it's a giant piece of shit. But let's go.
I was trying to. No, that was the whole point of the intrigue.
Oh, was it? Sorry.
Otherwise, I would have tried to beat you to it.
I mean, I don't want to disappoint anyone. It's fucking
Yeah,
awful.
It sucks. But before we get into how bad it is, I think a retrospective of the first three films, not going through all three, we don't have time for that shit.
No.
But just kind of talking about the franchise,
Well,
everything about
you know
it.
what's interesting? The first film and the third
Yes.
film are basically bookends. Because the third film picks up right where this first film ends.
Yeah, it's kind of a prequel.
No. Sequel is appropriate because it's after the first film. The third movie takes place.
The third movie's before, but it's before the second one.
Yes. Okay.
So it's a prequel.
Only to the second film.
It only has to be the one to be called a prequel. I'm not gonna go into detail. I don't have to explain it. So, I didn't remember much about the first two films when I saw them. When I saw the first one, I didn't remember until I watched it. When did you first see Jeepers Creepers, the first one?
When it came out in 2000 and when did that first one came out? 2001, I believe. Yeah, 2001.
And how'd you see it?
I saw it I rented it, I believe. DVD. Why?
Oh, okay.
How did you watch it?
The year, so 2001. The DVDs were 2001.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah. The lines blur for me. I originally saw it on a grainy camcorder bootleg.
Oh God.
Yes. And I did not enjoy it that much. And I kind of blew it off.
You know what? I think I remember talking to you about it, going, yeah, I didn't really like it. I'm like, really? I thought the first one was real good. Now, I had a friend at the time who told me, he goes, man, I was getting creeped out by this. It was actually really kind of even almost scaring me until the third act, when the creeper is kind of revealed. And then he was like, yeah, I liked it until I found out it was like a monster from outer space. And I'm like, no, man.
What?
Listen, he liked the idea of the creeper being, because you don't really know that it's like some weird, like almost demon-like thing until the third act of the movie.
Right.
So,
well, I mean,
you
you see the wings, you know something's up.
You know something is up, but you don't see really his face for a while. So he was, and I can't blame him for it. He was saying, listen, I thought it was way creepier when I thought it was just like a messed up guy. And I was like, okay, I can understand you being more intrigued and fascinated and entertained by that.
That's like how I was disappointed in Punch Drunk Love because it didn't end in a murder spree.
Yeah.
But then I had to realize that's not the kind of ending most people want. So I was like, okay, let me dial back and take a different look at it. So now I'll tell you, it was a grainy bootleg, and
all right,
it was hard to see anything in dark scenes. So I'll tell you right now, never really occurred to me until rewatching it now on the Plex in like 1080p. Or 720, I'm not sure what quality it was. That's probably 1080.
You watched it in HD.
It was HD. Watching in HD, that during that whole sequence when he falls down into the pit, into the theater of pain.
Oh yeah,
fucking shit.
No, Justin Long. He goes down that pipe.
I didn't see any of that.
Like the body's on the wall or nothing.
Dude, I sincerely squinted at it and thought it was just like some skins on the wall.
Oh my god, that is such a great scene.
It's such a horrible. It was such a horrible copy, and it was early in my bootleg days, so I kind of let that really prevent me from watching the film again. I never really watched it again until we decided to review Reborn. And then sitting through that scene again, that base is like, holy fuck! If I had seen this when I was actually watching it, this is insane.
Yeah, no, when that scene happens. Like when it kind of pans out where he's in the room and it pans out and you see that scoped reveal, that panning wide shot, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? It's so good. It is so good. I didn't even understand the ones when I saw it, since I couldn't see anything. I didn't even understand what he was talking about with who was down there. It was like, how the fuck does he know? I don't know what's going on here. The sound wasn't that great. Again, it was a horrible copy, and I was younger. I didn't really. So it's my fault. I'm really watching it for the first time now. If you think about it. Oh, no kidding. So what did you? So in rewatching it, obviously, I imagine your opinion has changed. So originally the big thing I would say was that the ending sucked. And that they just couldn't think of an ending, and what the fuck. So rewatching it this time, I just really gave it a full shot. And like any horror film, there are flaws. And if you want to look for the flaws, you'll find them, and they'll be valid. However, I thought the first film, and just skipping ahead, the second and third film, were all interesting. Each one added to the mythos. Each one was faithful to the mythos. Each one added to the mythos. Each one was faithful to the mythos. And each one, I thought, had great scenes, some great kills. I also remember in the first film, I didn't like the whole psychic character. I thought it was stupid. I a little more open-minded. And so I remember thinking the same thing for the second one, but I thought it made more sense now watching it as a trilogy. And so... I forget what I was counting off my fingers, but one of the things is going to be that I actually I think that the spiritual angle, to the degree that it is in the first three films, works perfect. It's almost like a Stephen King story in a slight level. There's shades of Pet Sematary, obviously, but right. That's my takeaway. What about you? Well, I loved the first film when I saw it 21 years ago now. And I remember watching it with my then girlfriend, who is now my wife. and she totally gets creeped out by the creeper. In the second film, there's a scene where where they're on the bus, and he goes up to the back of the bus and he starts licking the glass. Oh, yeah. And because we went to the movies to see it, she is just uncomfortably giggling. Like, I can tell when she's uncomfortable by how she giggles. So it's just one of those things where she was doing that. The creeper really creeps her out, like, big time. And I remember watching the first film with her, and her getting I mean, she liked it too, quite a bit, actually. This was at the time when, like, this was the same year that, like, I watched that, and then I think I watched Kung Pao and Super Troopers. Like, I think it was all around that same time period, within, like, 2-3 months. Like, I saw all 3 of those movies. But no, the first film. Kung
Pao, I got it.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. No, I was going to say, as far as the first film, I love the first film. It's one of my favorite horror movies.
I love it so much more now that I've, like, really seen it, and I owe you an apology for dismissing what I should have given a second look when you told me it was good.
Yeah, well, hey, as we grow older, our tastes change. It's okay, man.
Sorry.
Our tastes change as we grow older. I mean, hey, when I was a kid, I hated mushrooms. Now, love mushrooms. I mean, like, it's same thing goes with movies. Our tastes change. Maybe I probably didn't appreciate
peas.
I love peas. Oh my god! It
was the only vegetable I would have refused to eat. Like, you know, like past. I mean, even as a kid, I ate everything except peas. I'm eating peas now. That's a fucking progress.
Well, give peas a chance, man.
Yeah. No, but whenever Kung Pao comes up, I got to mention it. I always loved telling the story how I rented it from, like, the Red Box, because I was like, this is gonna suck. Let me just get it and we'll watch it and hate it. And then you don't have to return it for like 3 or 4 days or whatever.
Didn't I recommend it?
Yeah, I think you did. But
I did recommend it.
The trailer was so fucking stupid. It was like, this looks horrible. This is great. So I rented it. It's like, we're gonna hate it, and we watched it. It was like, and we're determined to hate it. So that we're watching it. It's like, laughed here and there. Blah, blah, blah. Next night, it's like, what do you want to do? I said, let's watch that Kung Pao again. By the end of the week, we owed a late fee, and we had watched it like 5-6 times. And it was just the funniest fucking thing in and with the audio commentary, and then, like, there's so many levels to it. I love that film. That's why I always tell a story. Sorry.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but yeah, I have so much more appreciation for one now. But talking about the monster too, I mean, the one thing that I noticed that watching the second, and again, HD for the first time for both of these films, and I hadn't, and for 3, which I didn't watch in high quality when I saw that too. The monster for a low budget horror film is, like, disturbingly realistic.
Oh yeah, it's very good.
To the point when they do, I have one of the screenshots in the slideshow when they have that close up of the creeper eyeing the javelin, and it's like right up to the eye. It's like, usually you can see the line where the monkey stops and the human starts.
Oh, you mean like the makeup and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. It just looks like a fucking demon. Like, you can kind of tell it's makeup, but, like, you can't tell where the makeup ends and the prosthetic begins. It's just it's just solid. And it is solid through the whole. There's nothing to improve upon. It's just great the first time you really get up close. You don't really get to see it too close in the first film, but when you actually do in the second, they really linger on it, and they can, because it's so well done. Yeah,
no, the Creeper, he's a great movie monster.
No, I was sorry, Javelin in the Eye, that was the third film. Sorry.
That is the third film. Yeah.
Don't get away with that shit.
But the Creeper, he's an excellent movie monster, and there are 4 films, although when we get into Reborn, technically it's a Jeepers Creepers movie, but we're going to talk into why it's probably not.
Yeah, and I don't even like referring to him as the Creeper, because did they ever call him the Creeper before this 4th one?
He's been he's been the Creeper since the first movie.
They called him the Creeper?
Yeah.
Is he in the credits as the Creeper?
I think so. I used to have a DVD, or actually I still have it. It's called Boogeymen. And what it is, it's a DVD compilation of like great horror scenes from horror movies. Everything from Texas Chainsaw to Hellraiser to Jeepers Creepers, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. And on that DVD that came out, I think in 2002 or 2003, he's referred to as the Creeper on that DVD.
All right. Without getting into the fourth film, all I'm going to say is after like the first 15 minutes of it, after the first half hour of it, I was pretty much to the point where I was like, I'm okay with him not having a name. I just no. We just keep it the name of the film. We don't need the reference in any way. Please stop.
Yeah, no,
but that's too far. That's
as
too far.
far as I know, he's been the Creeper from the beginning.
Now, so in the first film, it's what's his face and her. You got to do names.
Justin
right now.
Long. Justin Long. I don't remember. I don't remember the girl's name. I can get it.
I know Justin Long.
I just saw him in Barbarian, by the way. If nobody's watched Barbarian, I'm not giving anything away other than the fact that it is fucking great. That's it. That's your spoiler alert. It's awesome.
I'm looking forward to watching it as soon as possible. Maybe tonight. Justin Long, you still haven't seen that film with him, the Blue Wave or the Long Wave? Or
yes. I think it's just called The Wave.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting. It's yeah.
Yeah, he's making some good movie choices, or so at least some unique ones.
I like him more than the ER
Gina Phillips is the girl that plays his sister in that.
Yeah, Justin Long. The guy from ER, he's like the anti Justin Long. He's the evil Justin Long.
Zach Braff.
Mm-hmm. Zach Braff.
And he wasn't in ER. He wasn't in ER. He was in Scrubs.
Scrubs, the other one. Yeah. Zach Braff is the anti Justin Long.
Okay, it's ER.
This is gin, and I'm almost done. So cut me a little slack.
It's okay.
But I'm still intelligible. So
I haven't hit the gin yet today, although today was a fucking day. Tomorrow, I'm definitely going to be hitting the sauce.
I put out 2 fires today. I'm celebrating.
There you go.
The one of them still burns, but it's still good. Anyway, now as far as like the storyline of the 3 films, the mythos of it, I mean, now the first film is 2 teens driving down the road, passed by the Creeper.
They're going. I believe they're going home for.
They're going home from college. She picked them up from college.
Yeah.
And they witness this guy dumping bodies. They go back. They get involved, and then this thing starts hunting them down and killing everything in their path. And the focus of the film is slowly learning what the hell this thing is that's killing everybody. And there's a psychic woman at one point that reaches out. And I remember back then, the one thing I will give credit for back then that I still agree with now, I was pissed off with the film because the woman calls him at a random payphone. And, like, there's some great moments in that film too, like when they're all in the room and the thing rings and everybody's looking. When they run in trying to report it and everybody's like all silent, and then the phone rings and after a moment the guy's like, "You gonna get that?" I'm sorry, that's fucking funny. There's funny shit. There's some good shit in all of these films. They all have their moments. There's some really good moments.
Except Reborn.
Well, again, we're talking the first 3.
The first 3. Yeah.
No, yeah. Fourth one doesn't exist yet. So that the psychic, they've already talked to her like once or twice, and she's already like proved that she's really psychic. So she comes into the station. She's like, "We got to get out of here now." And they start fighting her. And it's like, wait a minute, she predicted shit, and this thing had wings. If it wasn't for the wing thing, I would be like, yeah, I don't know about this. But once the thing with wings showed up, yeah, she could say that Elvis is waiting in the car outside. I'm fucking following her. All bets are off once the wings show up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I definitely don't disagree with that.
That's one thing I like about part 3. It's like, no, once you see this thing, you're fucked. You're fucking changed.
Yeah.
And that was like a reality I like that they brought in. I mean, the third film was built so much on like the trauma of the survivors.
Yeah, one cop, Danny, the what's his face? He was in Monster Squad and Snake Eyes with Nick Cage.
Yeah.
He's like, 23 years ago is when it started for me. Last night is when it started for you. And I'm like, yep, because that's true. That is definitely true.
It has a strong it feeling to it, just because that's one of the main cultural things that kind of gave us that idea of a recurring monster every century.
Right.
One of the biggest ones. I'm not saying he invented it, not by a long shot, but I think each film focused on a different aspect, and also each film was like an outdoors. It had like real like vehicles, real things going on. They were low budget, but they really put every penny you could tell went into it, and people cared about it. I mean, now when I first saw the second one, I was conversing with a racist comic store owner who's also homophobic. And he had criticized the films. Oh, you don't watch that. What is it? And he mentioned that, oh, yeah, guy's kid toucher. So all right, I didn't, and I never looked into it. I was like, all right, yeah, the guy, which it's true. I mean, he blew a kid in Clown House.
Yeah, which is the movie that he wrote and directed. So,
right, or possibly more. That's all that was like claimed or like provable. And then he served his time. And the one thing is, like, the way he talked about it, I thought it had come out just then. And then later, when like there was all this controversy surrounding 3, I thought it had just come out then. I forgot about it before. And everybody acted like it was like this guy, but that, like, he did the crime and served the time in the 80s, and they gave him films and they made money and they kept doing it, and people kept getting pissed off about it, but the films kept making money, so enough people weren't pissed off about it. So eventually it got to the point, I mean, we'll get into 4 when we get to 4, but so he was like, oh yeah, and don't forget like the pink underwear in the first film stuff. It's like, and this guy, even though whatever, I learned like about film theory and reading into films from him. He was one of my original influences, like one of the only positive things I got out of that relationship. And like watching these films now, knowing that the writer director Silva, who was
Salva,
who was convicted and served 15 months of a 3-year sentence for raping a underage child, he is openly homosexual too.
Yes.
So going into that, knowing both of those things about this filmmaker, and by the way, I got to say, as a filmmaker, I like him. I like his direction.
Oh, I think as a filmmaker, he's actually quite competent.
I had to, yeah, I always blew the film off, but now seeing it, not in a grainy bullshit, and then watching the other ones without this filter of animosity that's been cast on me by others, I was like, just take it apart for the art. This guy really knows his shit. He knows how to craft a scene. He knows some good, and every film has something new coming to it. I know, both films didn't, he had other screenplays in mind, but they were turned down by, Coppola and other people that were, producers and stuff, so he had to change it. So, originally he wanted each film to be 32 years apart. They were like, "Fuck that! We can't. We're not doing that. It's going to be too expensive." And then and he had other screen. I think Part 3 was originally supposed to be Citadel, but they nixed that shit and did something else. So it's interesting how, even though the story is constantly changed and you could say corrupted by outside influences, there's still a cohesiveness to them that you have to give credit to.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, he's a very competent filmmaker. I mean, even a movie that the movie Powder, he did that.
I've never seen it. I've seen bits of it.
I enjoyed that film when it came out, but I don't. It's not. You know what? It was received very, very well, and the critics seemed to like it, and it's a very well made movie. I wanted more from it. I wanted more from the character Powder, but as a film overall, it's well done. He did another movie called Powder. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was going to go off on that, but what else are you going to say?
Well, he did another movie called I want to say it was called The Way of the Warrior.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Based on
And it's I want to say it's what's his face from Lost, the Ian Somerhalder or whatever. I think he becomes a paraplegic, and he has to learn how to do things again or something like that. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah.
That one was actually pretty good too.
Well, Powder is a perfect example of how, as a director, we know that his self-described homosexuality,
peaceful warrior.
It's obvious from Powder that his homosexuality and his obvious penchant for young children lends itself to how he directs his films. There are some of the scenes I've seen from the film, and again, I have not watched the whole film through, but there are scenes in the film that are very homoerotic, unflinchingly so, and so he is not afraid to inject that into a film that doesn't really need it. So the first film, you have that with there's the pink underwear, which it's really brought up for no reason whatsoever, except I guess to prove that it's his underwear that gets pulled out of it. But it just doesn't make sense to me why it was there. It seems like, but there is kind of like a gay pride undertone to that. I don't know if it's intentional or not, or if I'm reading too deep into it. Now, and I also think like his character, the brother and sister, feel like they were written for opposite stereotypical gender roles.
Oh, meaning she should have played his part, he should have played her part,
or more so that the female character in this film is atypically dominant and masculine,
whereas
I see. The male character is very feminine and whiny and actually needs protection as much as even so you so easily could switch it around. And it would make more sense than the film now. So in some ways, like it really comes through in that to me. And I'm not saying this as a negative either. This is merely film theory and speculation on my part.
Yeah. Now, so I did look it up. It's called Peaceful Warrior. Ian Somerhalder is not the guy. It's somebody named Scott Mecklowicz, or since it's Wicz, Mekovich. We had a friend whose last name ended in Wicz, and it's not pronounced. Yeah, so it's probably Scott Mecklowicz. Anyway, beeswax. That's right. And he's not a paraplegic, but he does get into an accident, and he shatters his legs or something. So yes, I was kind of right with that. But that one's actually pretty good, and it's got Nick Nolte in it before he went super insane.
Oh, okay.
I remember. Hold on. I remember when the second film was coming out. Victor Salva was interviewed, where he said that all of the gay undertones in the first film were going to be magnified even more in the second film. Like it was just. Oh,
so he's just come right out and said it. Okay, great. So I'm not stupid then for making these assumptions.
Oh no! Well, here's.
I didn't do any research. This is just based on my personal.
No, I remember. I think we actually had a conversation about it like 20 years ago, but so we were talking about how the gay undertones in the second film were going to be much more apparent, and. When I'm watching the second film, and I enjoyed the second film quite a bit, when the guys are sunbathing on the roof of the bus, that's one. Two, you want to hammer it home? When they go pee, complete pants down. Like, all the way down to their ankles. Not like with their hands on their hips. And it's like, okay. It's like, all right, Victor. I saw what you're doing there.
Remind me about the peeing when we get the 4.
Okay. Oh God, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but so like the fact that each film had like a male urinating, in the woods, or openly, it was one of the on-running things. Not necessarily homoerotic, but no. I mean, also Justin Long has his shirt torn. in the beginning of the film, and so there's a hole where his navel is, and he has this little tattoo of a black rose.
Black rose, yeah.
And so with the hindsight that I know of Salva, all I can think of is like, there's no reason for this. He purposely, all right, I want to see as much of Justin Long's navel as I can. I want to see that navel on, and let's put a tattoo of a black rose, yeah. And I want as much do as much B-roll, give me hours of that shit. You know, good on him. We put up a Quentin Tarantino's fucking foot fetish. I'm okay. I'm fine with that. But that's the only reason that is in there. I swear.
Of course it is. Absolutely true.
And then when you get to part 2, not only do you have like the sunbathing room scene and that, but like I said, I told Holly, I said, be prepared to see the men more naked than the women for the vast majority of this film. So you're going to see half nude sunbathing men. And some full nude bodies, and then you're going to see a lot of women in sweaters.
And she was like, and the problem is?
She was like, stop talking to me. She didn't care for these films. I actually didn't make her watch 3 or 4.
Oh, really?
Because we watched 1 and 2 together, and she was not into it. It's like, well, I can't risk 4 on her.
No.
So I'm not even going to bother with 3.
Because they might actually make another good Jeepers Creepers film. And
no.
No. You don't think...
Don't even talk about that. Let's keep on these.
All right.
Now, the third film, there's much less of he actually toned down the homoerotica, as far as I'm concerned. And now...
there really isn't any in it.
Now, again,
I'd say there's nothing in it. I can't think of anything.
Now, but also look at the first film, no love interest. It's a brother and sister.
Right.
Platonic. Second film, the love interest is just the jock and the girl. It's a nothing love story. It's a background. It doesn't even matter to anything. The girl has the psychic powers. No one gives a shit about anything else.
Right.
So it's like there for window dressing. It's part of the story to move things, but other than that, it's useless. It's not there for anything. Third one, the worst part of the film is the whole love story with the speckle-faced boy. And I apologize, but with that much freckles, it is distracting. And I'm wrong for saying it, but every time he came up, there's no way this guy's not one of the villains. I can't handle it. I'm wrong. I'm a horrible person. There's just a wrong pattern there. It just, no. But no, that whole love story is so forced, and they spent so much time about the fucking feeding the fucking horse. What is this? I'm like, yeah, we get it. They're humans. They have emotions. Go back to the woman screaming at her dead son. What the fuck?
Do you think that kid's? You think he's Irish?
I mean, the odds are higher.
Obviously,
I don't know what his religion is.
I'm joking.
I know.
Yes, he's definitely got some Irish in there.
Is that the only place that comes from?
Usually Ireland, Scotland, that general area. I
didn't know. That seems. I don't know. I never heard that.
Listen, if you've got red hair and you have freckles, you're probably.
Dude, I don't even know what was this. Did he have red hair? You don't know either. I
want to say it was like freckles. I want to say yeah, that is true. Exactly. I want to say his hair was definitely. Wow, I'm looking at a picture of him.
You want to say it and you can't remember because of the fucking freckles.
It's like a Pollock painting.
And I feel like he did that on purpose. I feel like some part of him knew that this is repulsive to a certain demographic that are just shameful people, but the same. They just don't like this guy.
Yeah, I'm looking at his hair in this shot, and he's definitely... It's not a full-on redhead, but auburn. I think that's the term, you know. So,
and what's his name? What's the actor's name?
Chester Rushing.
Chester Rushing?
Rushing, like rushing.
I want to make sure I get this right. Rushing as in like rushing water?
Yes.
Okay. Justin Rushing?
Chester Rushing.
Chester Rushing. I want to get that right.
Don't call me Chester.
So, in case this ever comes around and the actor Chester Rushing ever hears this episode, I sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart. I mean no harm. I'm a fucking asshole.
Okay.
Chester, I apologize to you right here, Chester Rushing. You don't deserve any of this criticism. There's nothing wrong with your face. You're a beautiful human being. But I just could not handle that pattern on my TV screen, and it's 100% me. I just want to say that now.
It's not you. It's me.
Not. Now that's why 3. The close-ups of the creeper. Oh, he's beautiful with the black, and you can't even tell where to make it. I'm a fucking horrible person. Damn it.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So, and what I like too is rewatching them. I was kind of, revisiting them. I hadn't really thought about them either. So the first one thing I remember realizing at the first film when he flies off with the kid at the end, and I was like, wait a minute. He left his truck.
He just left it.
What's he gonna do without his truck? So then the sequel I'm watching is like, oh, I don't see the truck. Guess he left the truck. We lost the truck.
Truck's gone.
And I love the fact that then in the third one is like, all right, we're gonna tell you what happened with the truck. It's like, oh shit. I don't know what he had planned with Citadel, but if it didn't involve telling us what happened with the truck from part 1, I would have been out. I loved it, and I loved the upgrades to the truck. Each film added a dimension to the character.
Yeah. Definitely. You're right, because at the end of the first film, he takes off with the kid, and it's like, yeah, truck's still there. It's like, what are they going to do with this thing? And you're right. In the third film, they explain quite a bit. Yeah, because it's the same night, and it leads into the next day. Right.
So I love that. Like rewatching it, the first film, I can appreciate the ending more, and I like how it's scaled back like that, and it's a great ending. Part 2, love the fucking ending, and just having people like having the humans becoming antagonists and like attacking. I hope I'm using that right. Jesus, I'm so fucking drunk. The fact that the humans are attacking him or fighting back at least. I mean, I thought I saw a review that said that 3 was the first one that they did that. I was like, how did you remember fucking 2? They shot him. I mean,
yeah, true.
I mean,
and what's funny is the end of the second film. That actor, if they were to reprise, like let's say they were going to pick up a new movie right from the end of Jeepers Creepers 2, that actor is actually old enough to not need makeup. They could They could just get him to play that character just the way he is. Because it's 20 years later.
What did you call him when you first see him on the screen?
That actor? Like his part? It's a farmer?
No, him, the actor. I turned to Holly, so who's that? Who do I tell her it is?
I know where you're going with this. I can't think of the name of the other actor.
Laura Palmer's father.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying he looked like somebody else.
No. I was saying, look, it's Laura Palmer's father. Is she like, what are you talking about? Twin Peaks. Laura Palmer. It's like, I know she watched a couple episodes, but she never say he killed her. It's like, oh, he did. Oh yeah. I'm like, oh yeah. Spoiler. Sorry.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah, Laura Palmer's father. I just couldn't drop it during the film. I love him, and he's great in that episode. I mean, and it's just that idea of like the revenge and like the ending was a good film. It had its flaws, but it was a fun film.
Yeah, it definitely has its flaws.
And then 3 focused on the survivors, and there was that pain and suffering, and then that weird ass fucking story that goes that fucking love story they wove in there. Who cares about the fucking horse? Man, obsessed with that horse.
It's her favorite thing. It's her favorite thing in the whole world.
Yeah, and one too many shots through that arbor.
Oh,
pathway.
Yeah, that's true.
Did that start bugging you the fourth, like at the end when they did it 2 more times? So I don't know if you had to rent this thing, but fucking stop.
Yeah, it's like we're getting our money's worth.
Yeah, I even remember the first time I saw the third film, and even though I was half paying attention to it, so I wasn't as impressed as I was with it now, or not as insightful about it. I remember at the end when the reveal, I was actually like, oh shit, it's the kids that from part 2. I was actually surprised by it, and I thought it was fun.
Yeah, no, I thought that was neat too, because it's been 20 years, so
and again, the fact that this guy took had like a whole concept that was outside, like, and he had to change the entire concept, and he still pulled off something that was original and so good that they were desperate to make a sequel to it, even though they really shouldn't have.
Yeah, no, it was 14 years later.
I totally understand that the guy raped a kid, but I also understand if you don't want to watch his films or like be involved or anything, I get that too. But I mean, honestly, I mean, if you served your time, I mean, to an extent, how do you expect prisoners to rehabilitate if they can't even do like one thing they're good at?
No, I mean, yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong, but
not making excuses. I'm not saying anybody deserves less than they got, and that they probably should have got more, but that's why we have a legal system. And you know, anything you're going to hold beyond that, I just, you know, unless he's supposed to kill himself, which I'm sure a lot of people think they should, and, you know, if they think he should be dead, maybe they should have fucking killed him. I don't think they should, and the fact that they haven't shows that they don't care enough. So shut the fuck up and just, you know, let someone make it. But I know he's older too. He's old too. I think he's like he was in the 60s when Part 3 came out.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in his 60s or pushing 60.
So I would assume he just didn't want anything to do with. I don't know if they just cut him off entirely because of the Me Too movement, which hey, fine. You know, if that's what happens and the studios don't feel comfortable carrying him, that's what the public wants. I'm not arguing. But if that's not the case, I would wonder, and I didn't look into this, I don't care, but I'm talking about it.
Yeah, he's 64. He's 64 when Jeepers Creepers 3 came out. He was 59. Okay,
so I mean, maybe he just wants to retire early. Maybe he's done with dealing with the bullshit. I don't know, or maybe like the contract was up and he couldn't do anything, and they don't want to give him anything. I saw somewhere that there was controversy around 4, since we're sliding into that. That people wanted to make sure that he wasn't making any money at all off of the film, which I thought was weird because like the film, none of the films were involved with the crime that he was accused of.
Right.
And the crime he was, again, I can't let go of the fact that this isn't like somebody that went like who like victimized people and got away with it, or, you know, somebody who's like been dodging justice. This is a guy who like was caught, served his time. People didn't like the sentence he got. I totally understand that, but I mean, I don't understand the point where you're preventing the film being made or wanting to make sure he doesn't get any money off of it. So with the 4th film, he even though he was making no money from the film, they still had to pay him for the license or to use the license.
Well, yeah, it's characters created by Victor Salva.
Right, he still gets a percentage of that by law because he created those characters. Like, no, it's like, you know, that's not what the Son of Sam law was. Son of Sam law wasn't you do a crime, you just are not allowed to make money anymore. Son of Sam law was you cannot profit from your crimes. So any depiction of your crimes, stories, published, whatever, you're not allowed to make money off the fact that you killed 20 people. That way we prevent people from killing 20 people to make money.
Right. Like, yeah, I killed 20 people, I wrote a book, and now they're making it into a mega blockbuster movie.
None of these films have to do with the crime.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
So I understand that they don't want him involved. He's not involved. They don't want him paid for the film. Nobody pay. I don't understand why they feel like they just they can go beyond the law. Say, oh, so now we can't even compensate this guy for copyrighted material, his personal work. I mean, there's a limit. There's a fucking limit where you take away the freedoms of people just because you don't like them.
Right.
There's got to be a limit. That's all. And I didn't mean to go on that rant. It just came out, and I don't even feel that strongly about it. But it just seems like a weird. I don't know. I just everything can be taken too far, even when you're on the right side. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not apologizing for anything.
So let's get
away from that and slide into
Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
The first 3 films, like new and improved, new and improved, new and improved. Then this fucking thing happens.
Yeah.
Slam on the brakes.
The first film, the first 3 movies. I mean, if I were to rate those individually, that first film, I'd probably give that a solid 8. And then the second film, I'd probably give a solid 7. And then that third film, I'd probably go a 6. Probably can be talked into a 7. But I'd probably go 6 on the third one.
I wouldn't want to give the first film higher than a 7 because I have a bias against horror films. I don't think they deserve higher than a 7 unless they really achieve something on a film level.
Barbarian. Barbarian.
What?
I'm telling you, Barbarian, that is a solid 8 or 9.
Like The Thing, obviously, that's a solid 10.
Yeah, it's
so I mean, just as an example of what I mean by
horror movie.
Yeah, but not just because it's a fun movie, but the cinematography, the story, everything, the special effects,
everything.
You got to earn a 10.
It sets the bar so high for everyone else, and that movie is 40 fucking years old, and there are movies even now that can't even get anywhere near it. We're talking about The Thing, by the way. It just it's the bar is so high because of The Thing. It's like if you've achieved horror perfection, you're being compared to The Thing.
Now, I know we're in Oscar season now as far as films coming out, but I would say one of my reasons that I can't go higher than a 7 on a horror film unless it's really, 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 really special is because I feel like 8 and higher, you're in Oscar territory.
That is definitely true.
I feel like anything lower than 8 is not even.
But you got to understand, my 8 for a horror film is different than my 8 for an Oscar film. I'm not saying 8 is an Oscar movie and that's it. I'm saying
I judge all films on the same level.
Okay.
So
good for you.
So what do we slide into? Is this a reboot? Is it a sequel? Is it a prequel? What is it, Joey? What the fuck is it?
I wouldn't even say this is a Jeepers Creepers movie. It's kind of in the same way that when they made Creepshow 3, they called it Creepshow 3, but that it is garbage.
It was direct to video, so I was like,
yeah. So, but they call it Creepshow 3, even though, in my opinion, it is not part of Creepshow 1 and 2. It isn't. And I'm going to go out and say that this is not a part of the first 3 Jeepers Creepers movies. Yes, they have someone that looks like the Creeper, but listen, even if they went so far as to make it look exactly like the Creeper from the first 3 movies, I am not counting this towards that original trilogy. They're not connected, first of all. They mention in this 4th movie that, didn't they make some other movies about the Creeper? And they kind of brush it off and allude to the fact that they made movies about the Creeper, almost like the Jersey Devil, where there's this thing out in the Pine Barrens, blah, blah, blah. It kills animals and people and all that. And let's say they made movies about it, and then they make a movie where it's the Jersey Devil. This is the same thing. They have 3 movies, and they talk about the Creeper being a legend, and no one gets to see him. And if they do, the footage is always creepy or grainy and crappy. And they made some movies about it, didn't they? Yeah. This is the real movie. This is what you're watching now. The 4th one. This is the real thing. Where is he real? Is he fake? It's garbage. It is fucking hot garbage. It is one of the worst movies I've ever fucking seen.
So, just to underline, what they're saying is that the first 3 films are the cinematic universe of Jeepers Creepers, kind of like the MCU.
Yeah.
But that's based on a real world thing that they are now in, and they are in the real world. So that was all fiction around a mythic reality. So, and that's their go-to. I want to preface this with what I learned about the film after I watch it, because I don't like doing research before I watch a film anymore. So, what I didn't know before going into part 4 is that not only is the writer, director, producer originally, he has no connection to the film whatsoever. None of the original production crew at all are involved with this film. Nobody involved with the original 3 films involved in this film except for one executive producer.
Now,
it's not even shot in America. It's shot in England.
Yeah. So I actually found a little something about this. So it says here that, you know, it was shot for 3 days in Louisiana, and then shot the rest of the way in the UK. And then it says here, the film's title was officially confirmed as Jeepers Creepers Reborn in February of 2021, when Screen Media Films acquired the worldwide distribution rights after previously releasing Jeepers Creepers 3. Okay. Then it says here that the production company, it says here the film was released in select theaters in the United States for 3 days. And then it says that was released by Screen Media Films, which was in partnership with Fathom Events.
Now, you and I know that's not an uncommon practice. You get a theatrical release, so you're considered a real theatrical film.
Yeah.
But then after that, you just go straight to streaming or video, whatever.
Right. And Fathom Events, if anyone has ever heard of them or knows what it is, well, they also do special releases. Like they'll do, like The Thing. It had its 40th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
So it was a Fathom event. So they create like buzz, and they re-release it in theaters. I went to go see The Thing over the summer. It was a birthday gift from my wife to myself, and we went to go see it, and we went and had dinner. It was awesome watching The Thing on the big screen.
Not to put it down at all, but you're basically watching cable in a movie theater.
Pretty much.
I went with Wesley. We went to a Fathom event to watch the a screening of The Breakfast Club with audio commentary.
Oh my God.
That's how fucking geeky that kid is.
Wow.
That wasn't my idea. That was his. I went with him.
Audio commentary? I don't know if I would find that distracting.
There was a theater full of people wanted it. Yeah.
I mean, okay. Was the audio commentary right off the DVD or Blu-ray?
I don't know.
Or was it like re-recorded, almost like a riff tracks type thing?
Did not look into it.
Was it funny, the audio commentary?
Yeah.
Or was it just really just
moments.
Okay. Anyway, so
it was a good audio commentary. Yeah, you've heard good and bad ones. It was a good one.
Of course,
I don't want to delay on it.
All right. So then it says released by Fathom Events months prior. And on March 16th, 2021, Myriad Pictures, the production company behind Jeepers Creepers 2 and Jeepers Creepers 3, filed a property fraud lawsuit against Infinity Film Holdings, which is one of the film production companies for producing Jeepers Creepers Reborn without Myriad's knowledge of involvement. They went and made this movie without any involvement from the original production company, and they're being sued for fraud. That is also why I feel that this film doesn't deserve to be in the Jeepers Creepers universe at all.
So on top of that, I feel like they were under time constraints, like they knew like they were purposely trying to get it done before anybody knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why why most of the production happened in London, because they just did any exteriors they needed here and then got the shit out of Dodge, so no one knew they were filming a fucking film. And also, you can tell they were so time constrained because this film was filmed during COVID.
Yeah.
So you had national shutdowns. People had to go through so much shit just to fly on a plane, and they're trying to pull cast and crew nationally. And instead of shutting down, they're like, no, we're going to work through this. Yeah, they had a time constraint. This was like a Fantastic Four situation where the copyright's running out, but they're going to fucking use it. And so knowing all this backstory...
They started filming November of 2020. There wasn't even a vaccine yet.
Yeah, and also, it's not just a production company. They approached Justin Long and I think the girl from the second one.
Gina Phillips.
No.
Oh, the Justin Long and the girl that played his sister, or the girl from the second movie?
Neither. I was wrong. Laura Palmer's father. Both of them were approached to be in part 4, and both of them declined. It's always put... Every time I read something about it, they diplomatically say, they could not reach an agreement. It means they said fucking no. The composer of like the horn, that made the horn, he wouldn't let them use the rights. They couldn't
Wow.
get the rights to a bunch of shit because no one would give it to them. So nobody was nobody that was involved in any of the films was on board with this, whether it was because they were friends of Salva, or because they just had some integrity, or because they just knew this was going to be a fucking carpet bomb from the beginning.
Honestly, it was probably, listen, Hollywood, I'm sure it got around that it's like, listen, they're making this movie without Myriad's knowledge. Like, this film is not tied into anyone from the first three movies at all, except for the one executive producer.
And I did see unconfirmed rumors that Salva used his friendship with some producers to cause shit, to make trouble on the production.
Good, because this is a fucking shitty movie.
Well, so going into this, we know that they aren't allowed to use the original horn. They don't have the original truck, and they can't get it shipped to London because of fucking COVID, and it's just too fucking expensive to ship it. They can't use any of the original actors. They can't use the Jeepers Creepers music because they don't own the copyright, and that's why they didn't use it in the second and third film. So they got to make up a fake song for that. What else can't they do? Well, it's COVID, so they got to use British actors and teach them how to speak with a American accent.
Except for the one guy, the one guy in the cemetery. It's like he was just English.
I'm the first to die. I'm going to be a fucking Brit. Well, he's not. No, he's not the first to die. I'm wrong. On top of that, shit. Oh yeah. So the only way they can do all this is they realize they just can't do anything that's connected with the original film, and they can't even make a reference to the original film to an extent. So it's all like nods and shit. They can't say they're actually connected to the film. So instead, they do this cockamamie thing where it's the alternate reality where these are films and now this is the real one, but now they have to change everything so it's different, and so they make the design of the main character worse. Right?
Oh, it's way worse.
Horrible.
Way worse.
The first three, he's wearing so they have to change so much shit that the stuff that you're end up with is garbage. Oh, and by the way, when you're trying to make something better, you know what really makes it better? What do you think? What would you add, Joey, to make a film better?
Better script, better actors, better makeup.
Conspiracy-driven witches.
Oh, you were asking me something that's already in the movie. I thought you were legitimately asking me how they could have made this movie better.
No, I was being sarcastic.
Yes.
No, when they're
at the cosplay, or when they're at the Coachella of cosplay, when he said that, I'm like, what? I go, for what? The 50 people that are there? Because as far as I'm concerned, there's hundreds of thousands of people that go to Coachella. Anyway, but then when he says that,
I have a daughter who does cosplay occasionally, and she doesn't say cosplay as much as these fucking people say it, and she didn't say it while she was doing it.
Right. So
fucking the dialogue in this film is just mind-numbing. Not all of it, but a good portion of it is just mind-numbingly horrible.
Yes. So when they're at this, whatever it is.
Well, back up.
And there's the preacher and everyone there, and it's like, repent, you're going to hell. And I'm like, yeah, no, he doesn't care about that.
No, go back.
I knew that immediately.
We got to start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning of what?
The film. We got to go back to the beginning.
Let's go back to the beginning. So, in the very, very beginning, it's a flashback. It's a flashback.
It's not a flashback.
It's not present day.
No. What we end up watching, so the film that's trying to separate itself from the original film, original trilogy, they decide to start the film off by recreating the opening scene of the first film.
Oh, yeah.
For eight full fucking minutes. And my mind's going like, there's no way I can't think of any good explanation for this whatsoever. I'm coming up with zip. I'm still coming up with zip because their idea was fucking horrible. Yeah, if it comes back and what you're watching is like a reenactment, like a la like mystery unsolved mysteries.
Yes, that's what you're right.
Crime.
You're right.
Yeah, and then
you know what? It was so bad that I forgot that that's what they did, and I thought it was a goddamn flashback. Did you catch the one actor, the husband? I texted you.
I didn't until you told me.
I mean, I don't remember his name, but he was the James Caan character in Alien Nation, the TV show, and he was the main character in Robot Jox, which we've reviewed Robot Jox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I did. Obviously, wouldn't have recognized him, so I'm glad you pointed that out.
I was like, wait a minute, I know who this is, and then like a nanosecond later, I'm like, it's that fucking guy.
So they spend 8 minutes recreating the first part of a film that we've all seen, and all know, and now we're supposed to ignore after having watching 8 minutes of it, because it pans out and shows that the guy's watching it on his cell phone, and he's like, "Oh, that was from 20 some odd years ago." Wink, wink. But then tells the girl, "Yeah, everything in those 3 films is fake. They all made it up." Kind of like Return of the Living did, but wrong.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like Return of the Living Dead knew how to do it. They did it right. But this one's like, oh yeah, so that film was all just made up. Now, and so I don't want to jump ahead, but if you're going to spend, because that's like a 5-minute dialogue scene in the car, because that's fucking smart too. Right after 8 minutes of a car scene that we already know what was going to happen. I lost my train of thought.
I said it was a flashback. You said it wasn't.
Right.
Then it's an 8-minute scene. It's horrible.
Oh yeah.
Then
they set up the whole idea that the films didn't actually happen and that we're starting fresh. But then what do we do at the end when we show the fucking stupid ass dumb shrine? That there's all these voodoo dolls from characters from the first 3 films. Tell me how that makes sense.
It doesn't. And again, this is why I am.
Then homage them all.
I am not. This is why I'm not counting this in the first 3 films at all. To me, this movie doesn't exist.
I wasn't this upset watching it, but I'm getting it.
To me, this movie doesn't exist. You have Jeepers Creepers 1, 2, 3, whatever the fuck this is. And then if they made another movie, that one could be called, you keep saying Jeepers Creepers 4. I'm not counting it as a 4th movie, like in the trilogy, in the sequels. I would say if they made another Jeepers Creepers that connected to the first 3 movies, that would be Jeepers Creepers 4.
For filing purposes, I'm not typing out fucking Reborn. I'm putting a 4 in so I can keep it in the series.
Okay.
That's just me.
And again, I compare it to Creepshow 3. Creepshow 3 to me doesn't exist. It's not the 3rd movie.
So the first 3 films, action-packed road movies. So what do we need to change? All right, instead of doing the road movie thing, let's get everybody trapped in a house. You mean like Saw 2? Yeah, exactly like Saw 2. You know, the one that everybody bitched about immediately. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
What the fuck? This script was written so hastily and so haphazardly that nothing makes sense, but the only reason it like falls together is just because everything's so fucking ridiculous. So now you've got voodoo fucking priests they're like stealing the plot of the Halloween 6.
Oh yeah.
They're stealing the Paul Rudd. They purposely did a Paul Rudd remake. This is Paul Rudd's Halloween all over again with the witches and everything. Or was that the next one? I feel like that was the one, but maybe that was.
I don't remember.
That's the alternate cut where there's more witch stuff in there.
Oh, the alternate cut is the Curse of Michael Myers. Isn't that like the alternate director's like ultimate cut or something like that? I think that's the Curse of Michael Myers. That's the one that had like the alternate different cut.
Honestly, after 3, they all blur into one until you get to the new series because they're all fucking shit. So I just know at some point.
Oh yeah.
That whole witchcraft thing comes up, or satanic cult. So they do the same thing around this, which is one of the reasons that was the worst Halloween.
Yeah, that one woman that at the store, and then she's so bad. I can't.
She brings out that big phone with like 8 buttons on it. So the fucking Satanists have their own like short connections, or what the fuck is this?
They have their own.
It's a different little phone, but come on.
They got their own little private landline.
Yeah,
I can't even look at her and just take anything that comes out of her mouth seriously in this movie.
And the problem too is making a sequel from a well-established and well-loved franchise amongst certain people Not to the extent that like this film this film makes me feel guilty for liking any horror films, and I feel like what it's trying to do.
Right.
It's just it just makes the horror fan like a complete. Oh, they're all just complete fucking jackasses. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I lost my train of thought again. You go ahead.
So yeah, no. So
I mean,
the one
they drag him to the haunted house, and then they do the whole they're feeding him, but then there's
take the baby, live forever.
Yeah,
take the baby, live forever.
So once she touches the voodoo chick, she starts having these weird flashbacks or Rosemary's Baby visions of them trying to impregnate her somehow with the demon, so he can be immortal. But why would he need that if he comes back every 23 seasons? But again, that's because the movies were fake, so we're just making this shit up. So so we're going to take this well-established franchise and then say, okay, we can't use any of the stuff we know. So we're going not only are we building on this old franchise, but we have to re-explain everything. So this is an origin story that shouldn't be needed.
So, you know how every once in a while...
Why does the guy run 500 yards into the forest to piss? How far have you ever gone into the woods to pee on a highway when there are cars passing? 3 feet?
Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck?
And the Coachella of cosplay doesn't have porta-johns? I mean, seriously. I'm sure...
Well, that guy went out to smoke a doobie, which again, this day and age, why is he running out in the forest to do that?
Yeah, no. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Dude,
it's so stupid.
Walk through Washington Square. Tell me that. Yeah, all right.
So the one, so you know, every once in a while, it actually happens more often than you think. So, like a horrible movie like this, somewhere down the line, maybe somebody from this movie actually goes on to do some real work and actually becomes famous. And
like Paul Rudd.
Sure, like Paul Rudd. So, like there's one actor in this movie, which is the boyfriend. His name is Chase. His real name is, I guess, Imran Adams. I don't know if, I have no idea if he will. I could see him actually going on and doing quality work and potentially maybe doing some good acting. I have nothing good to say about him or his performance. All I'm saying is I can see.
Sorry.
No, I'm not saying he was good in this movie. I'm saying there's just something about him that I could see that maybe he could go out and potentially make something of himself.
As much as I refer to the Bad Halloween as Paul Rudd one, that's just because he was in it. He actually does a decent job acting in that film, and he acts like Paul Rudd because that's really mostly what he does.
Yeah.
He can do more because he doesn't need to because he's Paul Rudd. But the boyfriend, no, because every time you say anything close to that, all I get in the back of my head is a running loop of him reacting to her costume catwalk in the beginning, first act of the film. No. At that point, I want him to die. I want him to die in the film. The creeper needs to come. Every time he says the creeper, I want him to die. It's a clown. Sorry.
Listen, I don't disagree with any of that. I'm just saying, if he went on to actually do quality acting, I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
You want to criticize the little Monster Fest for having no porta potties. I want to criticize the fact that they keep calling it the Coachella of monster people, and they keep talking about how
Coachella of cosplay.
And like they keep talking about how crowded it is, how busy it is, all these people are here, and there's no more than 15 people on the screen at any given time.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said before. Coachella of cosplay. I'm like, for what? All of 50 people? If that many.
This film is a constant reminder that nobody on doing the film gives a shit. Because if anybody gave a shit, they'd stop. Because he was like, listen, we can't use this, and this, and it's the middle of the fucking pandemic. We should stop. No, keep going. We can't get enough people for the crowd scenes because, the COVID. No, we want to rewrite the screenplay. No, keep going. We'll just keep calling it crowd. Just put. Nobody cared. They just didn't care.
And this director, he's known for some of the shots that he did. Like, he did it in Iron Sky, and he did it in the sequel. There's that one shot when they get to the Coachella of cosplay, where it's just a group of 3 people, and they're walking towards the camera with an explosion behind them. Did you notice that? Where they're No. In this movie.
Oh, in this one.
So there's like 3 people who are not a part of the plot, but it's just a glorified, just like spank off shot where it's they're walking towards the camera in slow motion with an explosion behind them. It is horrible, even for campy music video. It's bad. And he does it.
Of the film.
He does it twice in the movie.
Well, I mean, also the budget's so low, and then with the COVID restrictions on top of that, and then the fact they don't really give a shit, they only did like a bare minimum of exterior shooting. Everything else was done on sound stages and on blue screen or green screen. And holy shit, it's done so poorly. I actually came close to having motion sickness during the sequence when she's on the pedestal and she gets free, and she's holding her womb wound, and I. Because the background kept moving the different way than it should in real life, and I never get motion sickness from watching stuff. Maybe 5 hours of like video games, I was like, but rarely do I. But that scene was just so bad. And then you want to talk about a pandemic level shot?
Oh,
the end shot.
Oh yeah. Oh.
With the cops.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so, dude. This movie is so fucking bad. I can't. Like, I'm speechless. I haven't seen a movie this bad in a really long time. We haven't reviewed a movie this bad, and that's what we do. We haven't reviewed a movie this bad in a really long time.
I think we liked all the horror films we reviewed recently.
We did.
X I gave and took. I didn't go full hog hater on it. So I think we've had positive experiences, and I'm glad we talked about the first 3 films. So we had some positive experience before getting to the theater of pain.
Do we offhand, like, when you go on IMDb, can you see all the films that we've rated? Is it like in a list with our scores?
I probably can. I probably can, but I don't know if I can.
Because I'm trying to think what the lowest score for a movie we've ever given was.
Man, I guess we should have been keeping track of that.
Probably, because
I'll see if I can get those records from IMDb, because I'm pretty sure I've entered almost all of them on IMDb. You may have done some that we could pick up on the episodes, but I'll start working on this. I got the database of all the films we reviewed and which year they came from.
All right.
So now, which decade they came from, but now I can start adding that to it. So thanks for the extra busy work.
So, do we want to rate this thing?
I want to rename it.
What do you want to rename it?
Instead of Jeepers Creepers Reborn, it would be just as Jeepers Creepers Stillbirth.
Okay.
I think an apt title. And also, I just want to say about the ending. That last shot after the film, I didn't run and review research Salva and the films in general. I specifically looked for any kind of trivia that said, "Hey, they got bad feedback and had to reshoot the entire ending." I was looking for that. I needed an excuse to how they did that fucking ending, how they actually made it onto the screen. And the only rationale I could think of was like the original ending was so bad they had to just put that shit in. It's happened before. Joyride, they reshot the last third act.
Oh, did they really? Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a whole different film.
I liked the ending for Joyride.
The ending's a bit more comic. The other ending has a bit more humor to it, I think. But it's like the whole third act.
Is it on the DVD? Because I have the DVD.
Yes, it's on the DVD. If you have the good DVD. Yes.
I do have the good one. Oh, I should go and watch that because I
gotta watch it. When you watch it, it'll make more sense why all of a sudden, what's his name? My favorite actor.
Oh, Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn. I love Steve Zahn. I wrote a screenplay with him in the mind of the role. It wasn't a good one though. You'll understand why some parts at the end of Joyride in the third act, he's suddenly wearing a police hat with no explanation, and then it goes away. And you probably never noticed that, because I never noticed that until I watched the alternate ending. It's like, oh shit, I never noticed that.
So I don't even see it in my head.
It's a whole different third act. It's worth checking out. But anyway,
I'm gonna check that out.
My brain shut down, just like how, well, as we've been talking, every time you mention something in Jeepers Creepers Reborn, my mind does that thing where it tries to protect you, and all of a sudden, all I can think of is scenes from Jeepers Creepers 3, which is the last film I saw before 4.
Right.
So every time, like, you mentioned, like, oh yeah, that part with the boyfriend, and I'm like, okay, the freckle guy. No, wait, no. My brain won't let me confront the fucking film. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. No, like the cops show up, and it's like, yeah, we're just gonna go walk over here and hang out in the back of your police car. There's a bunch of dead bodies in there. We didn't do it, but there's no proof that anyone else didn't. So we're gonna go. You're gonna let us go, right? It's like, what? Like, they don't even go that far, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how the fuck are they going to explain all these dead bodies when they're the only two alive?
Well,
like, someone's gonna get the blame for this.
Oh, at that point, who gives a shit? After I
Oh, I'm just talking about how poorly the film is made.
Okay, but I was like, after I didn't even think of that, because once they showed the cop car shot, that wide birdemic shot, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
There's no way. I can't even take anything here seriously. No, this is but this is reality. But the three and I did find it offensive that, like, one of the only things they managed to carry through Jeepers Creepers was the fact that one of the male characters urinates, but they purposely made that character overly flamboyantly homosexual, and I feel like that was a dig, and I feel like that's very uncalled for, and I didn't care for it. And maybe I'm reading it wrong, and if so,
no, I don't think you are reading it wrong. I think you're right.
You know, I was kind of okay with the whole catty dialogue on the phone. It's like, girl, why would I ever do that? Or, whatever. I mean, I was fine with that. But when he's running through the woods and he does the hand thing on the side,
right?
I was like, now you're just being an asshole. Now, the director, not the actor, not saying
correct. No, I know what you meant. We all know what you meant.
That's tasteless. I just didn't care for it.
Yeah.
If you think that's woke, fuck you. Unless you think that's a good thing, then whatever.
No.
I mean,
I want to rate this.
Oh.
No?
One more thing.
One more thing.
No, one more thing.
Okay. What?
The worst CGI in the fucking film, when they climb up on the roof, and I would say that the background is the worst CGI, but no, it's when they pull the weather vane out and they throw it, and when they let go of it, it suddenly takes off like a rocket.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. It's like, so fucking bad. And then when it impales him through the mouth, it's like, oh, come on.
I think that shot softened the blow when the cop cars came up. That's why I didn't freak out. It's like, oh yeah, no, it's getting worse. Okay. I can see them losing money and time as, like, the credits start rolling. This is insane. Wow, the film no one wanted, so they had to fucking make it undercover.
Yeah, nobody fucking
sounds like that Disneyland film.
Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland.
Was that Tomorrowland?
That film scarred me.
It's better than this one.
Did that film scar you? No, I mean, like, that was a good film. That film scarred you, right? As a middle-aged man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely, after watching that, I'm like, oh man.
No. If you're a father that's taking a family to Disneyland, don't watch that fucking film, because you just want to kill yourself.
You know, it's funny. I watched that movie, and then I just took my family to Disneyland this summer. And don't get me wrong, not only did that movie come up a couple of times, but I thought about it a bunch of times.
All right, be honest. Be honest.
Yeah.
While you were in Disneyland, did you ever think of that film?
What? Of course I did.
Okay, that's what.
Someone talked about, like, Disney Secret Police. I'm like, hey, there's this movie called Tomorrowland. Like it came up. I actually brought it up a few times. I brought it up to my brother-in-law who has never seen the movie. We're in Disney, and my brother-in-law never saw the movie. I'm like, you know what movie you should watch?
That's one of those films, though, I don't recommend. Like I like. It's one of those films where I
well, no, my brother-in-law, he's got interesting tastes in films like we do.
No. What I'm saying is, like, there are films where, like, listen, this is a great film. I liked it, but I don't recommend watching it. You know, like funny games.
Yeah, don't do that. Or Serbian
or necromantic.
Film. Serbian film.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say Necromantic's a great film either. But
no.
I mean, yeah, there are films where I just, like, no matter how much I like them, I said, listen, I don't think you should watch this, but I'll tell you what I thought. Yeah, and that's one of them.
I recommend it.
Jeepers Creepers is Jeepers Creepers Reborn is just the opposite. Or no, it's not even the opposite. It's just a horrible film I wouldn't recommend.
No, I mean, we talk about movies. Oh, it's so bad, it's good. No, this movie is so fucking bad. It's horrible. And
it doesn't. There's no real character arc, and even like the actress's character. And I don't blame the actors. Again, they're not writing their own dialogue and they're not directing themselves. But her character goes from chatty, flibberty-gibbet, fun-loving girl who'll do anything for her boyfriend because she's just so. She goes right from that to like a brooding final girl. Too fucking quick for me.
Yeah, and you know what? She's. I looked her up. She's like a martial arts champion, and I have a feeling that she brought that to the table, and she's like, "Hey, I am an accomplished martial artist. Maybe we could, And she doesn't do like any like crazy martial arts.
Nope. You know why?
But,
you know why? You know why they're not going to do that with her?
Why is that?
Insurance. This thing was so bare bones. They're not risking it on that.
That's true. But what she could say is, my character could have this kind of an arc, and the director's probably like, okay.
You mean what arc?
Trying to get in her pants.
The boyfriend has zero arc except he's going to propose, and then he does, and then like there's nothing there, and then like the British guy doesn't have enough time for an arc, and then his producer, his only arc is he's an asshole, but apparently less of an asshole when like lives are at stake. And then the redneck guy is just he's less rednecky than we thought he was. Well, there's nothing going here. I mean, and the Asian girl was never the Asian pop girl was nothing more than an Asian pop girl. And it's a disservice to all the actors that they were, because I'm sure with a better script these guys would have done a lot better. Nobody except maybe the boyfriend, if he's going to pull the same mugging stuff. You're not Jim Carrey, please stop.
Yep.
Or should I say like Damon Wayans? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So you wanted to rate it now. Thankfully, now do you want to look at the previous ratings first, real quick?
Sure. So. Jeepers Creepers, the first film. Mm-hmm. Here, I'll pull that up real quick. Oh, I just had it.
I've got 4 up now, so if you
the first film is a 6.2. The one from 2001.
Fair.
I would go 7 on that one. I know I said 8. It's
okay
because I enjoyed it quite a bit, but 7 I would definitely be.
Of the budget and everything.
The second film, Jeepers Creepers 2, is a 5.6. I think that's low.
Yeah.
I would go 6. Definitely could be talked into a 7 on that one.
Same.
Then Jeepers Creepers 3 is a 3.9.
No, unfair.
It is unfair. And I honestly think it's reviewed... rated, I should say, that low because of everything that came out when the third movie came out, where the film got canceled.
But it'd been out the first 2. That's what confused me, because it had already been out for the first 2 films.
No, I know, so I'm assuming that's why the first 2 films, their scores were higher at one point, and I'm sure the reason why they're lower now is because of the same thing.
Yeah. Fuck. The low score. Fuck. What was I going to say about that? God damn it.
5.6 on the third one. Or 3.9, I mean.
If you want to compare it, just to point out how it budgets, you can do good with a low budget. Part 3 has a lot of CGI that's a little shady. Like, you can tell it's CGI.
Right.
But it's done really well for a low budget. I think like the worst I'd say is the gunshots on the guys when they shoot themselves with the puckle gun or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But when he flies through the air at the guy and like other shots, CGI, not bad at all. I mean, decent.
Not for a low budget movie.
Better than the CGI of Spider-Man like jumping from rooftop to rooftop in the first film.
Yeah.
But now compare that to fucking Reborn.
Yeah.
With its Birdemic moments. I mean, and again, you have to write around your budget at a certain point. You can't shoot shit. Just don't fucking shoot. But it's obviously they had constraints. But yeah, the film suffers for it. I just had to point that out because I remember the whole thing with comparing those. Because the stark contrast, like going to that one to this one, it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
But I'm rehashing now.
And then watching all of them and then going into Reborn, it's like the comparison is so stark.
I'd be fine with a 5 for 3, but I personally would rate it at a 6.
I would give it a 6 for sure.
Yeah.
So Reborn.
I can't go 7 because of the freckle kid. I apologize.
I wouldn't go 7 on. I don't think I'd go 7 on 3.
Sorry, Chester.
So Reborn is currently sitting, and I feel that this is way too high, a 2.5.
How blasphemy! Blasphemy!
I really feel that is way too high.
Oh, speaking of poorly written, speaking of blasphemy, you mentioned when they go to the cosplay thing and they have the small group of 5 preachers.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, even Phelps had more people at funerals than this guy has at this party. But the one sign that has anything specific says rock and roll is the devil. It's like, this isn't a music fest. Is it?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even hear. Are there bands at this thing? I thought we were just running around in costumes. Why does it say rock and roll? It was like so like patently like just your basic cliche of like the Bible thumper. They couldn't even think out of the box of that. So yeah, rock and roll. That's how bad this fucking film is. Yeah, 2.5 is way too high. Blasphemy.
We can't go lower than a 1. You gotta give it something. I'm saying this is a 1. I'm saying this is a 1.
I can't give this film a 1.
Why?
Because there is still one.
Talk me into a 2.
1 for me is honestly the bottom of the barrel, and it has to, just like a 10 has to be really fucking perfect. This film would have to be like complete shit. And I gotta say, I mean, none of the dialogue really works for me at all. And the first 15 minutes of the film is a fucking waste of my life. And everything else about the film kind of sucks. But I mean, there's still some decent kills in the film. Actually, there aren't there?
No.
I mean, the kills weren't that good.
None of them. No, it's all terrible.
Shit. Yeah, you're right. It's a 1.
This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I'm trying to think. Oh, you will be happy to know, sir.
Yes.
That now, we have how many episodes do we have up on YouTube? A couple hundred.
It's
right?
200. Yeah.
Yeah. Joey originally was in charge of putting the videos up and taking care of all that stuff. Joey does way too much. So recently, I've taken over like managing the YouTube page, and that involves putting the slides on the front on the YouTube that tells you what the episode is.
We're eventually, not to cut you off, we're eventually going to get all 370. This is going to be 378 episodes on YouTube. We have like 100 episodes that can't go on YouTube because they get flagged because of the video. Because we used to play the movie in the background,
so and we have to redo the backgrounds and play the audio.
YouTube has very strict, and you can fight it. And we will win, but it takes too long. So 118 or 120 episodes would take years.
Fuck YouTube.
Yeah.
So now, when Joey did the slides in the early episodes, he would traditionally take the sexiest shot, the most nude shot that he could get away with, side boob, that kind of stuff.
And I'd still be doing it.
Yes. So when I took over, I decided to take a play. I had to play it with Joey. So originally, I just took anything homoerotic that I could. and some great shots too. I'm glad with all my decisions. But since then, I've just kind of steered away from doing anything that involves exploitation of women. Not for any moral reasons. I just wanted to mix it up.
Okay.
But this film was so bad that I only had 2 slides that I took. One was a great shot of the creeper's face, which I think is the shot behind me, but it's so dark you can't see anything.
Right.
And the other, and it's like, that's a great shot. Or I can use the dumb chick dressed as Harley Quinn, because this film's a fucking clown show.
Yeah.
And I went with the hot chick in
Good.
in the
Because
Harley outfit.
you know we'll get more clicks than this film got views. Okay.
I just feel, just like those people that were so disturbed by Halloween ends. It was an injustice to the creeper. It was horrible. It is a travesty to the idea of the creeper that they would do such a thing to it.
Yes.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Oh, it's fucking trash.
All right. 1. Thank fucking God. All right. Let's go ahead and end this shit because I'm tired, and I'm tired of talking about Jeepers Creepers 4.
We'll figure out what we're reviewing before next episode. It'll be a surprise. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. No, everyone. All right, everybody. Thank you, as always, for joining us yet again for another episode of Moviesucktastic, episode 378. Go to our website at moviesucktastic.com.
Is that my cue?
Download the show, listen to the show, hang out with us live every Thursday, and just come hang with us while we get to review terrible movies like Jeepers Creepers Reborn. You can leave us, or you can go to facebook.com/moviesucktastic. We post everything from trailers to when we go live to just anything that we like. You can go and leave us email. The address is themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, it's 908-514-4470. And you can do a search for us on your favorite search engine. Just do a search for Moviesucktastic. We come right up. Also, we are now on Amazon podcasts and Audible. So you can go.
I haven't used it on Audible yet, but I've used it on Amazon Music to research older episodes. I'm trying to go back through some of them, and it's a great setup there.
I tell Amazon, I was like, Amazon, play Moviesucktastic episode 250, and
I'm afraid I can't do that, Hal.
It'll do it. It's kind of neat.
Oh, never mind.
So, with all that said,
what episode did you say this was?
378.
378. Thank you.
Yep. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
I'm sorry, Chester. Honestly, I am sorry. Seriously sorry.
There you go. All right, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Yep. I mean, I'm a horrible person, I know, but still.
You got to stop beating yourself up. It's okay.
Fucking face.
Perfect.
And I don't know why there's a hyphen there. There shouldn't even be a hyphen. It should be Jeepers Creepers Reborn, not Jeepers Creepers hyphen Reborn.
Wait, there's a hyphen in that?
I looked it up on IMDb. There's a fucking hyphen. That's why I put it in
What?
the title card, and that's why it's going on the label now. I looked it up.
So on IMDb, it's a semicolon, or it's a colon.
That's what all right, I'm using the wrong. I'm drunk. I meant a colon. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I meant colon. That is my bad.
Colon.
But it shouldn't be there. It should just be Jeepers
Jeepers
Creepers
Creepers
Reborn.
Reborn.
Yeah. Or you know what? Just make a different fucking film.
Yeah.
I hope they get fucking raped.
The poster with the baby carriage. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, and those flashbacks. The Rosemary's Baby shit.
Oh God. I'm surprised you're not using the picture of her that's like pretty much naked in that shot with just like
There wasn't a good. There wasn't a.
it's blurry. Yeah.
Blurry. Yeah, it wasn't.
Well,
I
listen. It doesn't have to be crystal clear. It doesn't have to be crystal clear. It's enough for someone to say, "I'm going to click on that because there's a half-naked chick." It's clickbait. That's all that it's designed to be.
I know, but that seemed. I didn't see any shots of that would look. I thought would look good. That's all. And even those scenes was like they couldn't even